I have some very interesting questions planned for us today. Not typical accounting, not typical financial reporting, but questions which touch upon certain technical articles and current issues at the same time. The first question that I gave you to read today is based on something similar. The second question that I have planned today, which is Leria Company, that is also based on, इट्स नॉट योर टिपिकल रन ऑफ द मिल क्वेश्चन नहीं है। उसमें अप्रोच वगैरह सब काफी अलग है। ठीक है। सो लेट्स फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल रीड द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन दैट वी हैव प्लान्ड विच इज सिंबल। ओके। Now, explain the principles of good disclosure which should be used to inform investors regarding the company's holding of crypto assets. Now, don't let this question requirement fool you into believing that this is a question on crypto because it's not. They are basically asking you principles of good disclosure, right? Up those principles of good disclosure apply to everything. They apply to PPE also, they apply to inventory also, and the same principles will apply to crypto assets. They have specifically said no need to refer to any exhibit. Now, in your opinion, uh, what are these principles of good disclosure? Just your basic understanding. आप बताओ. What could be considered as principles of good disclosure?
Disclosure should be clear and should not be very technical, so thus enabling the investors to understand complex matters in a simpler way.
This is not SBL.
Information that is material to the shareholder should be and stakeholders should be disclosed.
Okay. Relevance and materiality, two aspects. Okay. Um, with crypto, so materiality happens to be an important point, and because their judgment is involved. Okay. Then let's think about an item like crypto. The disclosures, see, any disclosures that you make, they must be entity specific. They must be tailored to the entity. Correct? You should be able to provide, as you mentioned. So if you think about the characteristics of financial statements, they're basically talking about that, है ना? It has to convey the relevant information. The information disclosure cannot be, overloaded with information. है ना? You should provide only that much information which is relevant for decision making. You should not overload it. मतलब you should not reach a point where the disclosure runs into paragraphs and conveys nothing. uh, Present them in a clear order, have the right sequence. The information should also link to different items in, say, for example, there is, think about impairment. Impairment affects an item in P&L also. It affects your non-current assets also. Multiple things are affected because of that. So that linkage is important where all it is connected, right? Now, in case of crypto assets, see, cryptocurrency, so to say, is very difficult to classify into one category because think about it. A, there is no specific standard dedicated just to crypto. ऐसा कोई standard है नहीं. Think of where exactly can you slot this particular item? Where will you slot it? I mean, in my opinion,
Derivative?
about financial assets, can it be slotted as a financial asset? Is it a contractual right to receive cash from another entity? Is it cash itself? Is it equity instrument of another entity? क्या है वो समझने का कोशिश करो। ठीक है। सो आई बिलीव फाइनेंशियल असेट में क्लासिफाई करना थोड़ा मुश्किल हो जाएगा। क्रिप्टो could be considered as a derivative asset, but again there are certain challenges in that classification also because we don't know what exactly is it based on na crypto ka value kis pe based hai, that is a little difficult to determine. In fact, I was just talking to a friend yesterday and he was talking about the declining crypto value in the last 1 month. Now, can crypto be classified as an intangible? It comes closest to intangible, closest, although not perfect. It is closest to intangible. So if you are classifying that as an intangible asset, for example, which might be, as I said, the category closest to that, then you will have to disclose the opening and closing carrying amounts, whether the useful life is finite or infinite. If it is infinite, then you should be talking about, not infinite rather, where it is not finite. There's a difference, huh? Not having a defined useful life and an infinite useful life are not the same. Land has an infinite useful life. Intangible assets do not have an infinite useful life. They could have an indefinite useful life. There's a difference in the two words. And as students of SBR, you should be able to understand कि यार ये difference क्या है ना? Crypto could have an indefinite useful life, not an infinite useful life. Correct. So all of these points will go into consideration. If you have to determine fair value, reference to IFRS 13 will be required. Correct. If you are a trader in crypto, then reference to IAS 2 will be required. So these are the disclosure points that in general you should give. So if a question like this comes in the paper about some other item, first of all, talk about certain non-negotiable characteristics of financial statements. Materiality related लिखो, relevance लिखो, understandability लिखो, talk about information overload, correct? Consider all of these points, put them together in one place. And in this case, I have specifically tried to link the answer with other accounting standards because this itself doesn't have an accounting standard. तो फेयर वैल्यू के लिए लिंक टू IFRS 13, इन्वेंट्री होगा तो लिंक टू IAS 2, इंटेंजिबल अगर है आपका तो यू विल हैव टू शो इट सेपरेटली, प्लस उसमें आपको ओपनिंग क्लोजिंग एंड दैट एंटायर रिको यू विल हैव टू शो. करेक्ट. एंड ऑफ कोर्स यू हैव टू टॉक अबाउट मटीरियलिटी. डिस्क्लोजर्स में मटीरियलिटी इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड the reason why there is a confusion here is because we don't have a defined standard for cryptocurrency. तो हम उसको बेस्ट पॉसिबल जगह पे फिट करने का कोशिश कर रहे हैं. ठीक है. एक बार आई हैव मेड अ शॉर्ट समरी ऑफ द पॉइंट्स दैट कैन बी रिटन. ठीक है. एक बार गो थ्रू इट. नो, दिस इज अ जेनेरिक आंसर. आई हैव टू टेल यू समथिंग अबाउट इट. पहले आप लिख लो फिर बता, मतलब पहले आप पढ़ लो, देन आई विल टेल यू व्हाट इज सम टिप दैट आई वांट टू गिव यू.
So can you scroll down, please?
Of course.
Sir, ICO, what is ICO?
Initial coin.
Yeah,
ठीक है. थोड़ा सा इज लेफ्ट, एक बार देख लो. ठीक है, ओके। Now, this question deals with a concept called cryptocurrency and digital assets. Now, for someone like me, I don't know I did not know for the longest time what cryptocurrency was. And to be fair, I still don't know what cryptocurrency actually is. I mean, I do have some bitcoins and all of that, but I don't really understand the idea of cryptocurrency. So I spent a lot of time trying to understand, and I have better knowledge than what I had before, but I would like to hear from you. What is crypto? Is it like, GPay, or it is something else?
It is
Sure.
just like a decentralized tokens where it only focuses on the like demand, market demand. It is totally focused on the supply and the demand aspect, and it is not just like what we have in stocks that there are fundamental and everything. There is a white paper where the coins have, like, the company who issues the coins or tokens give us detail about their plan about investing in cryptocurrency, developing technologies, developing blockchain technology,
बहुत
and
ज्यादा हो गया।
developing other मतलब
मुझे इतना नहीं
बेसिकली
समझ में आता।
एक टोकन है। आप एक छोटा सा शेयर्स का भाई समझो, जहाँ पे फ्लक्चुएशंस बहुत ज्यादा होते हैं कंपेयर टू शेयर मार्केट, बस। अगर सिंपल लैंग्वेज में बोलना जाओ तो और कुछ नहीं।
ओके, एंड डू यू ट्रेड इन क्रिप्टो, मिस्टर शाह?
हाँ सर, अभी सीख रहा हूँ धीरे धीरे।
एंड हैव यू मेड अ लॉट ऑफ मनी इन क्रिप्टो?
नहीं नहीं, अभी सीख रहा हूँ सर, तो अभी स्टार्ट होगा धीरे धीरे।
अभी स्टार्ट होगा। ओके, ठीक है। Okay. Crypto, see, in terms of what SBR requires, not necessarily the whole, I mean, we cannot be discussing, the whole crypto ka life cycle, but just from an SBR perspective, what exactly is cryptocurrency? It is digital money in many, many ways, in the sense that it exists only online. There is no physical coin or note. Okay, it runs on a concept called blockchain, which is a digital system that records transactions in a secure manner. There is no government or central bank that controls it. Like your Bitcoin ho gaya, Ethereum ho gaya, like, our currency notes and coins are controlled. I mean, they are issued by the central bank of the country. Bitcoin is not issued, which makes it, there is no regulation there. So people use it to buy or sell things. Like, I there was a ransomware attack that was happening in 2017-18 when I was with EY. They would get control of your systems, and then they would say, pay us in bitcoins, otherwise your data will be, gone forever. So it's not physical currency, it's a digital online currency, and there is no regulation, so to say, around it. Think of it like online tokens, and it's a slightly, risky business according to me, because jahan pe regulation nahi hai, tomorrow if something goes wrong, I have no one to catch hold of now. If something goes wrong in margin settlement on a stock exchange, my in my my interests will be taken care of. Crypto के केस में I don't know who is going to regulate that activity. ठीक है, crypto runs on something that is known as blockchain. Now, what exactly is blockchain? See, blockchain is digital record keeping. Okay, and like a BCom answer that you would give, what is blockchain? It is a chain of blocks. But what are these blocks? Let's try to understand. Think of it like a notebook. Okay, where every page has certain transactions recorded, like a register, physical register that you have, but it has three features. There are there's a chain of blocks, so they are all linked with each other. Each block is a group of transactions, and every new block is linked to the previous one, and it creates a continuous, unbreakable chain. In the sense, say here, the way I want to look at it is, I have the sales ledger here. From sales ledger, there is a GST payable ledger that is coming into or GST output GST ledger that is coming into existence. There is a third ledger called GST payable ledger. There's a fourth ledger called input GST ledger. All of these are written on different pages and they are interlinked or interconnected with each other. So you change value in one, the value will automatically get reflected in the other. You cannot go and tinker the output GST ledger because that ledger is dependent on this. And if you cannot make a change here because that depends on the first ledger. You cannot make a change in output GST ledger because again, the GST payable ledger depends on that. So these are interconnected chain of blocks. See, everyone can see it. Okay. Everybody can view the interconnected chain of blocks. Once a block is added to the chain, you cannot delete it. Okay. Which means it is used as a method to track transactions constantly. कोई मतलब people all over the world can see it, as in people who have access to it can see it, but not everybody can alter it, not everybody can edit it. And I don't know how mining is done. मतलब वो मेरे ह्यूमन माइंड की थोड़ा आगे वाली चीज है, माइनिंग ऑफ क्रिप्टो. बट द आइडिया इज कि इट्स डिजिटल नोशनल वैल्यू in certain cases. I find it difficult to describe it as a derivative instrument because derivative derives its value from an underlying asset. Here I am not very clear what that underlying asset is, which is why I find it difficult to classify as a derivative in the strictest sense of the term. The way you have the way you have something like a IPO. Similarly, you have an ICO, which is an initial coin offering. ठीक है. It is like a fundraising event by a crypto company. वो fundraiser नहीं होता है, आपके गुड़गांव सर्कल्स में होता है ना मानव, where people raise money for charity and they have it over cocktails and dinner, right?
Yes, sir.
So I don't know. I'm just imagining. I don't know whether it
But
actually
just,
happens or
but
not.
just like Maya Saravai, cocktails.
Exactly what I was going for. I'm not sure whether this generation knows Maya Saravai, but yeah. So, like a fundraising dinner that Manav is going to host on, say, maybe 5th of December. Similarly, there's a fundraising activity. A company creates a new crypto. ठीक है. Like जैसे अभी उसका नाम है Ethereum, for example. Manav will make his own crypto coin. ठीक है. He will issue it like a company would issue shares. Manav would issue that crypto. He will sell it to the public, raise money, hopefully not run away with it after that, right? Investors pay cash or other cryptocurrencies. They get Manav's cryptocurrency now. And in return, they get tokens that may increase in value. Like shares would increase in value, this crypto will increase in value. Or it may fall down, who knows, Manav भाग गया, criminal case आ गया बेचारे पे, तो value falls down to zero immediately. ठीक है. And what happens after that? You can use it to buy things online. So like I use my digital wallet to buy something on Zepto. You could use it to buy some say like a painting or something, far more expensive. Hopefully you will not use crypto on Zepto. That's really sad. Maybe you can use it elsewhere. But it's like, think of it like shares, but not like shares in the sense, there is no underlying asset to base its value on. At least not to my understanding. There could be. The technology is evolving every day. आई विल लेट यू रीड. इस पे अगर आपको ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस होंगे तो मिस्टर शाह विल आंसर बिकॉज इट अपीयर्स ही इज एन एक्सपर्ट इन क्रिप्टो. ठीक है. एग्जाम के लिए इतना ही काफी है, मेरे को इतना ही आता है. ठीक है. चलो, लेट्स क्विकली रीड दिस बिकॉज द नेक्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चन इज बेस्ड ऑन दैट. ठीक है.
Can you scroll down, please?
ऑफ कोर्स आई कैन.
So just a moment, just a moment.
आप लेट आए आज गौतम जी?
No, sir.
नो. I don't want you to get overconfident, but Good answers, huh? Gautam?
Thank you, sir.
Is Gwyneth here? Good,
Yes, sir.
good answers. There's a lot of room for improvement, but like the effort. Yashika, good work.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
See, improvement का जो भी scope है, I have written, but good. Manav, good consistency. You're submitting multiple
Thanks.
tests, and that's a good thing. Karan, दोनों चल रहा है. I'm happy to see that. And guys, you can message me anytime in the day. Huh? I might not answer after 1 a.m., but I'm there. मैं don't feel, मतलब don't say sorry for submitting an answer in the night. It's okay. All chats are on mute. WhatsApp is on mute, so I don't get disturbed. Don't worry. ठीक है. अभी next 10 days I am at your service. Whatever you want, let me know. ठीक है. BCom answer. What is blockchain? Chain of blocks. What is big data? Data which is big.
Sir, if this is like record keeping system,
Hmm.
some people say like crypto is not like traceable or something.
Crypto is not traceable.
Hmm.
It
That's
isn't.
why like
So,
that's why it's used by hackers, like
हाँ,
And
मतलब in this blockchain वाला technology में you cannot identify who is the seller, who is the buyer. You cannot go to its IP address कि मतलब ये वाले PC से ये वाले particular server से इन्होंने बाय सेल किया है, तो एक हैश की जनरेट होता है, वो हैश की हर ट्रांजैक्शन पे चेंज होता है। तो मेरे और सत्यमित सर के बीच में एक ट्रांजैक्शन हुआ, वो एक हैश की जनरेट हुआ, वही हैश की नेक्स्ट ट्रांजैक्शन में जनरेट होता है, तो वो प्री मतलब मेरे और सत्यमित सर के हैश की के साथ सपोर्ट लेके वो जनरेट होता है। तो एवरी ट्रांजैक्शन क्रिएट्स अ न्यू हैश की एंड दैट इज नॉट ट्रेसेबल। तो
what
okay.
आप
said? मैं तो
Let
भाई
me
मुझे तो फ्रॉड लगता है.
let me add something. I'm working on a fundraise for a company that is using blockchain to record their contracts. So right now they're using blockchain or other similar uh, what do you call these things. Not exactly crypto. They're using blockchain and other Ethereum, those things to record the transaction for transparency purposes. So that if one thing is getting affected, the person who has control over the things can see who has made what changes and where it will go. But it only restricts the person who have access to. So third party, let's say me and Satyamit sir is having a transaction. Anyone else from this group can't see it. So if I'm giving access to, let's say Gautam, he can see it. That's what typical in a simpler version. That's what it is.
So you have your answer. And I think there are most people here know more about crypto than I do. I haven't worked on blockchain and all of that. I think it's a very fairly evolved system than, how it used to be earlier. So good knowledge on that front helps me also in understanding things. Now let's go to the question. But the thing is now, your ability to answer these questions does not depend upon your knowledge of crypto. Okay. So crypto is just, it's a distraction. It's a red herring that is often put in the situation to pull your focus away. Answer has to be with respect to our same old boring accounting standards. But when you see a word crypto, you get excited. डर जाते हो या जो भी होता है. This is the reason I'm doing this question is to explain it to you कि although we were looking at principles of good disclosure, I don't think we really spoke about crypto per se. We just spoke about principles of good disclosure, tried to relate it with crypto. ठीक है. Now 5 plus 6 plus 6. See, this is it will appear like it's a question on crypto, but you will soon realize that it is not. ठीक है. Advise whether the various development and promotional costs related to ICO can be accounted for as an intangible asset. Isn't this a question on IAS 38? But because you will see all these complex words, you will immediately get worried कि अरे ये नहीं आता है, वो आता है, whatever it is. So we don't want that to happen. ठीक है. Symbal develops cryptocurrency funds and is a leading authority on crypto investing. Symbal company specializes in initial coin offering that raises funds from investors in the form of cash or a crypto asset such as Bitcoin. The year end of Symbal company is 31st of March 2007. ठीक है. The diagram shows how ICO is issued. Symbal company issues tokens to investors. Investors give cash or other cryptocurrency to Symbal company. Symbal uses that funds used to develop trading platform to buy and sell tokens and fund other projects. The tokens are given to investors who buy the tokens, and a percentage of this fee from trade of tokens goes to Symbal company. ठीक है. The terms token and coin mean the same, and investors are often referred to as supporters. An ICO issues tokens to investors for cryptocurrency or cash. For each ICO, Symbol company establishes a separate payment platform on which investors can trade the tokens. These tokens do not present an ownership interest in the entity. Symbol company promises to produce gains for investors from trading the tokens on the platform, and in return, the company takes a percentage of the profit as a fee. As at 31st of March 2007, Symbol company has incurred significant cost in promoting the issue of ICO tokens and developing the trading platform for dealing with the purchase and sale of ICO tokens. These costs have been met from its own capital and expense to profit or loss. Symbol will earn revenue from supporting the purchase and sale of tokens. ठीक है. Then this is the ICO arrangement. ये separate part है. Look at this development expenditure bit. Do you think it is worthy enough to be classified or to be recognized as an intangible?
It's for the promoting use. I don't think it would be included.
I would want to hear from the others as well.
Yeah, the cost which is incurred for promoting should be expensed off, and the other cost should be capitalized if it meets the six conditions for
It should be
development.
development cost.
Okay. Now, what is that one line that often changes whether it has to be expensed off or whether it has to be capitalized? There are certain recognition criteria, right, when development expenditure should be capitalized. What is that one line which, according to you, makes a lot of difference?
Future economic benefits.
Very good. For all assets, the word future economic benefit will make a lot of difference. यहाँ पे do you see future economic benefits? Symbol can capitalize ICO related cost only if they are bringing probable future economic benefits, right? And they should be measurable also. That criteria is there for all the accounting standards. So there are promotional costs also that you are incurring here. Your answer will have to depend on that. First of all, see, you have to establish the basic criteria for recognition. There are multiple criteria, but दो criteria बहुत important है. एक, probable future economic benefit हुआ तो ही asset बनेगा. दूसरा, cost can be measured reliably. Unless you can measure something reliably, आप record ही नहीं कर पाओगे. ठीक है, that is the first thing. Now, these ICO related cost, ठीक है, after issuing the token, do you still control the platform?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You still control the trading platform. Do you expect to get future economic benefits? And is it probable that you will get future economic benefits?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
It
Yes,
seems
sir.
so. It will come from providing services also, not because investment management type भी थोड़ा सा कुछ इनका चल रहा है. When should cost be expense? When it does not lead to future economic benefits, right? उसको immediately expense off करो. You have no proof. बोलते हैं ना, proof of concept चाहिए. You don't have any proof, तो you expense it off. In case of Symbol company, it promises that the users can make gains by trading tokens on the platform, and in return, Symbol will earn a percentage fee from their profit. That means the company can expect future economic benefits from offering this service. ठीक है, costs may be recognized as an intangible asset and amortized over its useful life. But promotional costs, advertising and promotional costs should not be included in intangible. बिकॉज एडवर्टाइजिंग का फ्यूचर इकोनॉमिक बेनिफिट्स के साथ डायरेक्ट लिंकेज नहीं है, देयर इज नो डायरेक्ट नेक्सस बिटवीन द टू. सो यू कैन एक्सक्लूड फ्यूचर प्रमोशनल स्पेंडिंग, डोंट कैपिटलाइज दैट. Also remember that you will have to subject this to impairment because you don't have a definite useful life attributed to you, है ना. यहाँ पे आपके पास definite useful life नहीं है, because you don't know how long this is going to last, because maybe tomorrow there is a new technology or something completely new and unexpected that comes into existence. And if that happens, then this might go out, or your contracts might become invalid. There are multiple reasons. So you can't say that this has a useful life of 8 years, 10 years, 15 years. You can't say that. But what you can definitely say is that it is an intangible asset because it is expected to bring in economic benefits, as in future economic benefits which are measurable. तो उसको capitalize करो. Do not capitalize promotional costs if the benefits are, you know, no, because you cannot have a direct nexus between the spending and the benefits that you are likely to derive. Okay, so उतना लिख के आपको छोड़ देना है, which is why I have presented this answer as you will see in point form. पॉइंट्स दिया है, उसको स्टेटमेंट्स में आप डेवलप कर सकते हो. ठीक है. Full theory, yeah, seems like a GK paper. Doesn't seem like an accounting related paper at all.
Scroll down, sir.
That's true.
ठीक है.
Sir, in point 5,
हम्म.
should we explain why this cannot be promotional or advertisement cost cannot be included in intangible asset?
If you have the time, yes. Otherwise, the examiner is a person of decent ability. तो वो समझ जाएगा. Don't over explain. This is where you should be able to save time in the paper. He knows why it cannot be done. एक छोटा सा explanation देके खत्म करो. ठीक है।
Sir, the question asked like advice on various development and promotional costs related to ICO and how can it be accounted as intangible assets? Why are we writing related to impairment and other things?
Because capitalization will be followed by impairment. How they can be accounted for means advise whether development and promotional costs related to ICO can be accounted for as an intangible. The journey of accounting for an intangible cannot be complete unless you speak about the impairment aspect of it, right? Because you start at whatever time during the year. By the time you reach the end of the year, you have to evaluate whether it has been impaired or not. That is why. ठीक है, चलो. Next part, slightly longer in terms of the detailing. Discuss how the receipt of 1 million cash in the pre-sale agreement should be accounted for in the financial statements for year ended 31st of March 2007 and how the $10 million raised in ICO should be accounted for in the financial statements for the year ended 31st of March 2008. Discuss why the granting of tokens. Okay, चलो ये part देखते हैं पहले. ठीक है. How 1 million cash in pre-sale agreement should be accounted for in the financial statements. Occasionally, Symbal enters into a pre-sale agreement to raise funding from selected investors prior to public sale of tokens. Symbal company has entered into a pre-sale agreement with an investor, which entitles the investor to a 10% discount on the price for tokens compared to other investors at the time of ICO. On 1st of March 2007, the investor paid Symbal company 1 million in cash. The issue date of ICO is 30th of April 2007. The cash is only refundable if ICO is abandoned before 30th of April 2007 because the minimum funding level of 9 million has not been achieved. Once the tokens are issued, ICO investors can readily convert them into cash or cryptocurrencies on Symbal's platform, but they do not entitle the holder to future goods and services from Symbal company other than supporting the purchase and sale of tokens. The inflows received for tokens are used by Symbal company to fund the future development of the payment platform and other projects. In order to induce investment in the ICO, Symbal has made a commitment to the holders of tokens to pay a single payment of 10% of annual profit for the year ended 31st of March 2008. The holders do not have any other rights such as redemption of their tokens or any residual interest in the assets of Symbal company. ICO raised 10 million on 30th of April 2007. ठीक है, just give me one moment. Okay. Now, first of all, what is this situation? First of all, let's know what do the tokens represent. See, when a company issues tokens to people, employees, directors, whoever, the step is to check whether the tokens do they meet the definition of equity. And equity, forget everything else. Equity represents residual interest in the company, right? Now, what is residual interest? After everything else has been paid off, do you have a share in net assets of the company? If that is the case, then whatever is given to you, by whatever name it is called, it will be considered equity. If not, the tokens are not equity. यहाँ पे it has entered into a pre-sale agreement to raise funding from select investors prior to sale of token. ठीक है? And Symbal company has entered into a pre-sale agreement with an investor, which entitles the investor to a 10% discount on the price for tokens compared to other investors at the time of the ICO. The investor paid Symbal company 1 million in cash. Issue date is 30th of April. Cash is refundable if the ICO is abandoned before 30th of April because the minimum funding level of 9 million was not achieved. यहाँ पे लिखा है ICO reached और raised 10 million on 30th of April, तो refund वाला obligation तो नहीं आएगा. But what is the end of the year? End of the year is 31st of March 2007. आपने पैसा ले लिया इन्वेस्टर से, अंडरस्टैंड द सिचुएशन. यू रेज्ड मनी फ्रॉम द इन्वेस्टर, 1 million दे दिया उसने. द पॉइंट इज इफ बाय 30th of April 2007 you are not able to raise 9 million, then you will have to refund the amount to the to the investor. Up, I want to draw a parallel with something that you might have studied in 11th, 12th standard or whatever. In case of an IPO, there is something known as minimum subscription, right? If, say, for example, I have issued 10 million shares, I should receive applications for at least 9 million shares. If that doesn't, 90% का होता है minimum subscription. If that level is not reached, I will have to refund the money to all the applicants. Isn't this exactly like that? You raise money from people. If you don't reach 90%, you refund the money to people. Now, on 30, this process is happening in March. The point is, you are raising money on 1st of March from this investor. If you don't have enough money, if you have not raised 9 million by 30th of April, you will have to refund. When will the material, I don't want to call it material uncertainty because you will immediately think of going concern. But when will this uncertainty get resolved? On 30th of April? Do you know what is the situation on 31st of March, ki whether you will have to refund it or not? So that uncertainty is going to be, the decision making point and how we evaluate that key. How are we exactly supposed to classify? Once the tokens are issued, ICO investors can readily convert them into cash or cryptocurrencies on Symbal's platform, but they do not entitle the holder to future goods and services other than supporting the purchase and sale of tokens. The inflows received for tokens are used to fund the future development of payment platforms and other projects. Okay. In order to induce investment in ICO, Symbal has made a commitment to the holders of tokens to pay a single payment of 10% of any annual profit for the year ended 31st of March 2008. The holders do not have any other rights such as redemption and their tokens or any residual interest in the assets of Symbal. Okay. So right now we'll have to understand कि यार ये किस कैटेगरी में आता है ना? Now, who are these people? To whom are these tokens being issued, by the way? किसको जा रहा है ये token? Are these employees, are these directors, or are these people outside the company?
outside the
outside the
company.
company.
Outside the company. On year ended 31st of March, ठीक है, Symbal is in the process of doing an ICO. If it does not raise at least 9 million by 30th of April, which is after the reporting date, the money will have to be returned. Now, whether this ICO succeeds or fails, is it in Symbal's control? No, it's not. Now, the uncertainty gets resolved on 30th of April 2007. ठीक है, can the investor demand repayment before 30th of April 2007?
No, sir.
No, sir.
30th of April 2007 ko once the books are closed for that day, you will know how much money has come in and the right to receive repayment that will arise on 30th of April 2007 if at all it has to arise. उसके पहले तो नहीं होगा. So on 31st of March 2007, think about it. Now think from the company's point of view. If the ICO fails, Symbal must repay the 1 million, which means there is a contractual obligation to deliver cash if the ICO fails, right? Because the success of the ICO is outside the entity's control, entity cannot control what will happen to the initial coin offering. Now, वो successful होगा तो होगा, otherwise it will fail. Because the success is outside the entity's control, there is an obligation to repay cash, correct? Which is why on 31st of March 2007, you should classify that 1 million as a financial liability. Although investor does not have a right to demand cash on 31st of March 2007, from the company's point of view, the event is not in company's control. है ना? Event is not in company's control. We follow the prudence principle in general. So, as they say, to err on the side of caution, we are doing that. Now, for year ended 31st of March 2008, next year, ठीक है, at 30th of April 2007, ICO has raised 10 million, so that uncertainty has been resolved. what will token holders get? They will get a one-off right to that 10% of Symbal's profit. ऐसे ही लिखा है ना वहां पे? उसके नीचे what they have written is
Yes.
they do not have any other rights such as redemption rights for their tokens. That is not there. ठीक है, 10% one off आपको मिलेगा of the total profits. You do not have the right to redeem your tokens for cash. Do you have rights on the residual or the net assets of the company? ऐसा लिखा है?
No, sir.
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
No. So financial liability नहीं है because company now does not have a financial obligation to pay cash on 31st of March 2008. It is not even equity. Why? Because it does not represent residual interest in the company, neither financial liability nor equity. तो ये जो पैसा आया, that is simply income for the company, don't you think?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
है ना? So that 10% profit sharing obligation on 30, so initially it might have been a contingent liability, but once it gets crystallized, है ना, once you know how much profit has been earned during the year, then you can very easily come to a conclusion कि यार जो भी profit होगा उसका 10% अपने को देना पड़ेगा. So that 10% का payment, when you crystallize that, it becomes a financial liability, but that 10 million now becomes your income, right? The concepts that we applied here, it appears as if it's a question on some initial coin offering token woken. ऐसा कुछ ये question लगता है. But think about it. Is it a question on that, or is it just a question on investments and financial instruments in general? Question तो आपको basically क्या classify करने को बोल रहा है? Question is asking यार, should I call it a financial asset or should I call it equity? अगर दोनों नहीं बोला तो और क्या बोलूंगा? If not that, what should I call it? And the critical point for you to understand here was that from the company's perspective, okay, from the company's perspective, it is not a financial liability on 31st of March 2008 for one very simple reason कि now there is no contractual obligation to pay cash to the other entity. It does not even represent equity instrument in, sorry, it does not even represent, what do you call it, residual interest in the company. तो ना residual interest है, ना obligation to pay cash है, नीदर इक्विटी नॉर फाइनेंशियल लाइबिलिटी. तो उसको कहाँ पे क्लासिफाई करेंगे? इनकम में ही जाएगा. दैट अमाउंट हैज क्रेडिट इफेक्ट. और कहाँ जा सकता है? इधर इक्विटी में जा सकता है, पीएनएल में, मतलब इक्विटी कैपिटल में जा सकता है, पीएनएल में जा सकता है, या फाइनेंशियल लाइबिलिटी में जा सकता है. वी डिनाइड इट टू स्पॉट्स इन द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट, ना इक्विटी ना फाइनेंशियल लाइबिलिटी. तो व्हाट इज लेफ्ट आफ्टर दैट? अपना दिस
Revenue.
इनकम.
Income.
तो दैट इज वेयर इट गोज एट द एंड ऑफ द डे. ठीक है, अंडरस्टूड?
Yes, sir.
इसमें when we actually started analyzing, did we even think of, as in, I did not think of crypto because my focus was on what characteristic does it fulfill. Correct? Focus वहां पे था. And the whole reason of pointing this fact out again and again is whenever you get questions on current issues, na, see, you are not expected to be experts on digital crypto, crypto, कुछ भी नहीं. You are expected to know financial reporting. तो accounting treatment पूछा है, and why did I go in the financial liability equity wala direction? Because I received money from someone. When you receive money from someone, either you are supposed to give them an ownership stake, a residual stake in the company, or you are supposed to repay them. या किसी, अगर इशित ने मुझे पैसा दिया, it can only be for three things. It could be a loan from him, और आई हैव सेट अप अ कंपनी एंड ही वांट्स टू इन्वेस्ट एज एन ओनर, तो इक्विटी इंटरेस्ट हो सकता है. या आई हैव सोल्ड सम गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज टू इशित एंड ही इज पेइंग मी फॉर दैट, तो मेरा इनकम हो सकता है. यही हो सकता है ना. और इशित से आया हुआ पैसा क्या हो सकता है? इट कैनॉट बी एनीथिंग एल्स, विच इज व्हाई आई वेंट डाउन दैट पाथ इन टर्म्स ऑफ इवैल्यूएशन. ठीक है, आर यू ऑल विथ मी? थोड़े
Yes.
Yes,
different
sir.
type of questions. They're not your typical questions, but थोड़ा दिमाग लगाना है without losing track of the fact कि यार we are still dealing with, this is a question on IAS 38 and financial instruments. This is not a question on crypto. This is a question on IAS 38 and financial instruments. Discuss why the granting of tokens to 5 directors should be accounted for in accordance with IAS 19 rather than share-based payments. ठीक है. Symbol company sometimes does not issue all the tokens from an ICO to investors, but retains some to use to reward their employees. On 1st of March 2007, Symbol company granted tokens to its 5 directors from the issue on 30th of April 2007. The award vests on 31st of March 2007 to directors who were in Symbol's employment on 31st of March 2007. The tokens give the directors the right to receive a car of their choice. Wow, up to a value of $50,000, even better, at any time in the next 12 months. तुम्हारी वो कौन सी है, डिफेंडर आ जाएगी $50,000 में?
नहीं सर.
इससे भी महंगी है.
हाँ सर, $100,000 तक आती है वो तो.
तो मुंबई में चलाएगा कहाँ? जगह है क्या चलाने को?
सर वो गाड़ी देख के सब जगह दे देते हैं.
बाप रे. ओके. The tokens gives the directors the right to receive a car of their choice up to 50,000 value at any time in the next 12 months, up to 31st of March 2008, if they remain as directors of Symbol. All 5 directors were still with Symbol on 31st of March 2007. Why not account for this as a share-based payment? Why account for this as an employee benefit? ठीक है. First of all, check what do the tokens represent. Are they giving you any stake? Are they giving you any
Residual
residual
interest.
interest in the company?
No.
No, so that's not equity. Equity instrument तो नहीं है. Will you be getting cash equivalent of something? मतलब
No, sir.
जैसे, is it like an SIR basically?
SR, no, no, no.
It's neither an
No,
equity
sir.
settled option, neither is it an SIR. If not IFRS 2, where will it go? IAS
IFRS 19.
I see.
IAS
19.
19.
cash benefit to the employees. ठीक है. Now IAS 19 will determine when should it be recognized. Benefits expected to be settled within 12 months होगा तो recognize it as the current service cost and short term employee benefits. नहीं होगा तो long term कर दो उसको. It is a typical IAS 19 वाला accounting that you are supposed to do. Just record an entry, employee cost account debit to short-term employee benefit liability. This is not a share-based payment because what you are neither getting shares. Question क्या पूछा था? Why do you think it is share-based payments? Why do you think it is employee benefit and not share-based payment? I mean, they only have given us everything that we needed to know, na? Are you getting equity? No, you are not getting equity. Are you getting रेसिड्यूअल इंटरेस्ट इन द, दैट इज रेसिड्यूअल इंटरेस्ट मिल रहा है आपको? नहीं, वो नहीं मिल रहा है. क्या मिल रहा है आपको? आपको मिल रहा, आर यू गेटिंग ओनरशिप स्टेक? नो. Are you getting something which is equivalent to the value of equity shares? No, you are not getting that. So IFRS 2 तो apply नहीं हो रहा है यहाँ पे very clearly. If IFRS 2 is not applicable, which accounting standard has to go? See, because these are employees at the end of the day. तो इनको कौन सा अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड अप्लाई करेगा? IAS 19 एम्प्लॉय बेनिफिट्स विल अप्लाई. करेक्ट. सो व्हेन IAS 19 अप्लाइज, देन फिर वो शॉर्ट टर्म लॉन्ग टर्म बेनिफिट के हिसाब से वैल्यू रिकॉर्ड करो, काम खत्म करो. नाउ दिस इज एक अ बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ IAS 19 वर्सेस IFRS 2. इसमें तो यार क्रिप्टो का कोई भी लेना देना नहीं था. इट क्रिप्टो की जगह इफ आई वुड हैव सेड यू आर गेटिंग अ कैश वाउचर or you are getting a gift card from me, the question would have been pretty much the same, na? It's a gift card. You scratch it on Shubh Shah's birthday. If it says you win a car, then I give you a car. Otherwise, I say nothing. वही है ना? It's just that they replaced it with the word crypto to make you get worried about it. तो बस अपने को वो टेंशन नहीं लेना है, बाकी तो कुछ है नहीं इसमें. एक बार पढ़ो तो पार्ट डी.
Sir, here we will just pass an entry expense to payable, right? Because it's a
Yes.
short term. Just scroll. Scroll.
हो गया? ठीक है. Quite an interesting question. Uh, and these type of questions are intended to trouble those who have a weak heart. मतलब that way. जो डर जाएंगे ना वो ये क्वेश्चन कर ही नहीं पाएंगे. The ones who are able to write this question are the ones who are able to understand कि the question is not on crypto पे question है ही नहीं. Question किस चीज पे है? Question intangibles और financial instruments पे है. बाद में IAS 19 IFRS 2 पे है. Question is barely on, you know, and even in IAS 19 IFRS 2 accounting नहीं पूछा है is it a share based payment or not. Look at the essence of the question. लिखा कुछ भी हो, what are they trying to ask? Is it a share based payment? No. And you know what a share based payment is by this point in your journey, correct? छोटा क्वेश्चन था, but as in looks small, but I believe it's an important one for you to know. ठीक है. तो एक बार जस्ट सी नाउ दीज टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस व्हेन यू सिट डाउन टू प्रैक्टिस. ये टाइप आउट करने में टाइम वेस्ट मत करना. ये रीडिंग वाला क्वेश्चन है. अंडरस्टैंड द कॉन्सेप्ट एंड रीड. पीछे का आंसर मत पढ़ना, बहुत लंबा है. इट्स टू लॉन्ग, विच इज व्हाई आई हैव समराइज्ड इट. कंसोलिडेशन व्हेन यू डू सॉल्व, ये सॉल्व करने के लिए मत बैठना, बिकॉज ये तो पढ़ के आपका काम हो जाएगा, राइट? ओके. नाउ आई वांट अस टू डू another question, which is Leria company. ठीक है. All of you have the kit. Take 5-6 minutes. Read Leria company. Okay. Start.